Okay folks, I'm here in a 2015 Honda Fit. This is the all-new model, bottom up, completely redone. It has a few carryover parts here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary for a compact hatchback like this. I've had this car for just about a week, and when I first got it, I have to say that I was a tad bit disappointed with it. I just stepped out of a very luxurious SUV and into this. It felt almost inferior. That's one of the problems we run into as automotive journalists. We get out of one great car and into a lower level car, we're kind of like, meh, it's not that great. Well, after a week, that's what they give us a week on these cars. After a week inside this car, I can actually see what is so good about it. Sure, it's a small hatchback, so you're not going to expect all kinds of crazy good stuff. It's going to have your little flaws here and there. It is a little bit loud on the inside. That's an inherent flaw with any hatchback. So we kind of take that along with the price. Now the sticker price on this is $21,500. Now that's not just for the Honda Fit. The base Honda Fit starts out at $15,500. For that extra $5,000, you're getting a top of the line EXL package that gets you the leather interior, some leather on the dash here and there, 16-inch wheels, a big 7-inch monitor right here with Sirius XM radio, a 6-speaker sound system that is okay, not the greatest, but okay. You get some nice wide tires, so it's kind of grippy in the turns, a sunroof, and a bunch of other little niceties like Bluetooth and some steering wheel controls, and a CVT transmission with sport mode. Now, typically, I complain and moan and boo-hoo about CVTs. This one's not that bad when you put it in sport mode. When you have it in standard drive, it's a little bit sluggish, but it's tuned towards MPGs. So when you have it in the normal CVT mode, you average about 35 miles per gallon combined. Once you pop this thing in a sport mode, though, you're going to hit about 33 miles per gallon combined, but you get a much livelier experience. It has 7 ranges throughout the CVT. You can shift via these paddle shifters on the backside. So it's really not all that bad. Now, in the corners, this thing is actually surprisingly good. I really didn't expect that when I first got this car. But once I really hit the corners, I understand why the suspension is as stiff as it is, because it has very little body roll for how high the roofline is, and it really grips well. Now, speaking of the roofline, one of the things that Honda did when it revised the Honda Fit for 2015, and if you don't know, Honda skipped the 2014 model year at the Fit, went straight from 2013 to 2015. Not only do you get this completely redesigned body that looks really sharp, but you also get a body that's a little bit shorter and a little bit wider than what the old Fit was. Now, when you think shorter, you think you're going to lose cabin room. But actually, you gain about, I think it's 5 inches of leg room in the back. So the backseat riders now have plenty of leg room back there. And honestly, you can fit full-size adults back there very, very comfortably. Now, there are some sacrifices there because when you shorten the car and lengthen the rear seat space, you lose some cargo room. So you're dropping about 4 cubic feet of cargo room with the seats up, and you're losing about 5 cubic feet of cargo room with the seats folded down. Now, it might sound like a whole hell of a lot of cargo room you're giving up to gain a few inches of seating room, but you have to remember the Honda Fit has long been a class leader in overall cargo room. So losing that 5 cubic feet of overall cargo room still drops this thing only down to 52 cubic feet of cargo room. The closest to this is, I think, 47 cubic feet out of, I think it was the Ford Fiesta. So this thing has tons more cargo room. It has about 10 cubic feet more cabin room than any other city car in its class. And it's not much bigger than all the other ones in its class. So you get the tossability of a city car. You get all that goodness that comes with the city car with the compact size, but you have what feels like a sedan. I've test driven the Kia Rio, and this thing feels so much roomier than the Rio. The Rio, you're kind of sitting like this, whereas this, I can spread my arms out. I'm not banging off of stuff. Now, with this car, $21,000, you're also giving up some fit and finish issues. Up here, you have scratchy plastic here and there up on the dashboard. You have a leather touch over here on the sides. You have a leather on your center console. But the thing about this center console is, if you open it, you can actually hear it rubbing against the driver's side seat. So what I fear is over time, this leather is going to wear out. Now, if you hold it off to the side like this, you kind of avoid that sound. But if you just pull it up straight, you get that weird rubbing sound. So over time, that may wear out. If you're like me and you put everything in that center console and you're getting in it 5 or 6 times a day, you might wear this out pretty quickly. But if you're someone who rarely ever uses the center console, it may not be a concern. But overall, for driving pleasure, the Honda Fit, the new Honda Fit 2015, gives you lots and lots of good stuff. It's 130 horsepower out of a little 1.5 liter 4-cylinder, plus you get 35 miles per gallon combined. Also on top of that, you get the Sport CVT transmission that gives you the ability to shift gears like that. And it takes turns very, very well. Sure, it's not a sports car, so if you're going to take this thing and try to hit the Nürburgring with it, you're going to run into some issues. But if you're just out tinkering around in little curvy roads here and there, it does pretty well. Very little tire squeal, a little bit of body roll, but it feels secure for a hatchback like this. Braking and steering through a parking lot. Those are two huge things on this car that I fell in love with. First of all, the brakes are amazing. And it has electronic brake force distribution, so you get braking where it needs to go. So it keeps the body nice and level, even while you're jamming on the brakes, because it distributes it front to back to keep the car level and to help maximize its braking abilities. In a parking lot, though, is where this thing really excels, because it has such a tight turning radius. It's a 2.5 turns from lock to lock. So you really get a nice quick ratio turn when you're turning into a parking space. You crank that wheel, you don't have to sit here and go like that to get all the way over it. It's over really quickly, and it turns very, very tightly. It has about a 35.1 foot circle. So it's a very tight turning car as well. Overall, for the price at $21,000, that's one of my issues. At $21,000 for a compact hatchback like this, you can get a whole lot more bang for your buck for just a couple $1,000s more. But you're not going to get the leather interior and things like that. But again, you have to remember, this is an entry-level car with leather interior. So you're getting the old school leather, the old black shiny leather. And I have to be honest with you, things get a little bit sticky when it's hot outside. Your back starts to sweat, your legs start to sweat. So it's not really comfortable when in this black interior. It's not that comfortable. It needs ventilation. It needs perforated seats. Maybe that's something that Honda will look into in the future with this EXL model, but it really is suffering from that. And also getting in this car after it's been sitting in the hot sun all day, not a lot of fun. It does have seat heaters, which are great for you folks who live up north. But I'm down here in Florida. I don't need seat heaters. It'd be nice to see Honda say, okay, let's get the southern market ventilated seats. Let's get the northern market heated seats. But of course, with that comes extra cost, and it's going to jack up the price of the base car all across the board. So I can see why Honda didn't do it, but it would be a really nice addition if they would do that. But overall, for $21,500, you're getting a lot of car for the money. You're getting a car that performs well with 130 horsepower and 113 pound-feet of torque, which is about, I think it's about 12 horsepower more than the 2013 model year, and about 6 pound-feet of torque. Not a huge increase, but it's enough to get this thing up to 60 miles an hour and right around the 9-second range, which is very, very quick for this class. And like I said, the handling is actually really cool for a car like this. I really didn't expect it to be as tossable as it really is. What would make this thing a whole hell of a lot more fun is if it had the 5-speed transmission, the manual gearbox. That would really make this car a whole lot of fun to play with. So with the CVT, you're sacrificing that tossability and the feeling you get of being in control of the car. So you are sacrificing some of that. It gives a little bit back with the paddle shifters up here, but you're really not getting all of it back that you get from that natural analog feel you get from a manual transmission, and what I think this car really excels in having. So if you're out looking for a hatchback, give the Honda Fit a shot. I recommend going with the 5-speed manual, but you can go with the CVT if you can't do a gear shifter, or you just prefer to drive, not having to worry about shifting gears. The sports paddles on the side will help you get a little more liveliness out of it. It's not going to squeal tire, it's not going to do drifts, it's not going to do anything like that, but overall it's an okay car for the buck. Give it a look. Thanks a lot for checking out my review, guys. You can check out my full written review after the jump. Thanks a lot.